Identify yourself, please.
Chief Kenny, Warwick Fire. As I said before, we were recommending Peterson Oil Service out of Worcester, Mass. For ultra low sulfur diesel fuel. That's the only fuel we use. They were the low bidder out of the 8 bids we received. This would be for $157,000 coming from budget code 35220 for a 1-year award.
So, in your budget code, you still have a balance as of 12/17 today of $44,000 available out of your fuel budget.
Yes, sir.
And last year, your fuel budget was $180,000.
Yes, sir, I believe so, yeah.
Did you have any transfers out of that budget code last year?
I see a transfer of 10,330. I'm not.
No, that's this year.
That's this year. Out of last year, I'm not aware of that, sir.
And so what was, well, you had to carry forward.
That was a carry forward.
10,000.
Exactly.
Okay.
So we're at, that's right, we have 44 left. We've used 146, and that is for gas and diesel. Bid last year for 157 as well. So I'm just bidding for the same. It's roughly the same calculation this year. I do have all of the projections that you were talking about.
Your budget for this year was $180,000.
No, I'm just talking about the bid award.
Oh, okay.
The bid award.
Okay.
The bid award last year was for 157, and we're looking for the same thing this year. I have how much the mileage and the gallons and all of that information on spreadsheet. We track that all down.
Chief, where is the fuel tank located for the fire department?
We have one at Station 2, Station 3, Station 6, Station 9, and Station 10. And they're all 1,000-gallon fuel tanks.
And we have how many stations? How many fire stations do we have?
We have the 9 stations.
9 stations.
Correct.
So that means 3 stations are going somewheres to get their fuel.
Yes, sir. And 10 has theirs because they're so far, they're out where they are.
Do you know what you actually used in fuel last year, gallons?
Last year, we used, for the last, I'm going by the bids because we're tracking this by the bid. So when I'm talking that, I'm talking April 10th of 2015 to April 9th of 2016. And then this one would be a bid award from 10/16, but it is 1 year. I track it by the day. So we used 48,579 gallons for that year. And right now, for this year, we're at 55,906 gallons. We're up about maybe,
10%.
Maybe 6,000 gallons, maybe.
6,000?
Yeah.
A little more than 10%. So why do you figure that is?
A number of different reasons. Increase in runs. Our incidents are up.
Have we had an increase in fires?
We have. So that's pump time. We had, we hired a recruit class. When we hire a recruit class, they're using our vehicles, they're using the reserve vehicles and fueling them up and doing driver's training for those 18 weeks. Engine 10, which used to be before, was, even though the truck was still doing runs as engine 7, now it's down in Potawatomi. They're using that fuel down there for an area we weren't covering before, which East Greenwich was covering. So those are a few of the reasons that it would go up. I mean, if we put that out to the 17 trucks that use diesel fuel for 6,000, I mean, that's probably, that's not a lot. That's not a huge increase.
So to go back to Councilman Marola's point, and I think it was a very good point, we now have 6 fire stations with fuel tanks. Are they all 1,000-gallon tanks?
They are.
And the 3 fire stations that don't have their own tanks, are they in a relatively close proximity? I guess the question is, so why do we have 6 fire departments with 1,000-gallon fuel tanks? I mean, why don't we have 3 fire stations with 12,000 gallon fuel tanks? Because the square mileage is only so big. The trucks are on the road for different reasons. They're on the road at all different times of the day. So perhaps some of these runs, it might make sense to incorporate them into a fuel run.
Well, that's they try to do that typically when.
Who tried to do that?
No. I mean, you said I misunderstood you maybe. As a fuel run, when the trucks are out too, just so you, if they're out coming back from a call and they're going by they usually try to hit one of those stations to get fuel.
Well, I think.
But I get your point. I mean,
Looking at a bigger picture to get us to a better place, where we can buy fuel in a bigger bulk.
Larger volume.
Instead of going to 6 different stations and dumping off 1,000 gallons of fuel, go to 3 stations and drop off 12,000 gallons of fuel. It was talked to earlier that, well, that's why some of our prices are higher, because some of the deliveries are smaller, they have to come more often, etc. And now you're telling me at Station 10, it just blows my mind that we put in a 1,000-gallon fuel tank in Station 10, a brand new station. I don't know, it's just mind-boggling. So I think
I don't know if that
bigger,
was. I mean, that was.
I understand.
That was. Yeah.
I think in the bigger picture, perhaps one of the goals as we move forward is to look at how can we purchase, not just fuel, everything. How can we purchase better and what makes more sense? And sometimes we need to condense these things. And, the answer could be, well, this is the way we've always done it. It doesn't mean we've always been doing it right. And it certainly doesn't mean that we can't do it better. So, any questions from members of the committee? Keep in mind, we will be revisiting this fuel budget line in the very near future. Any questions from members of the committee? Any questions from members of the council? Any questions from the council? Any questions from the public for the chief? Let's not make the questions redundant, please. Yeah. Sir.
John Semino, Ward 6. I know the mayor's not here, but for the last 4 years, since the price of gas was probably $4 a gallon, I have a habit. I live in Ward 6, and I usually like to go to the beach a lot during the day. I read the paper, I read a book, I do different things, and he's probably passed it on to the chief, but just about every time I'm there, I've got either rescues or fire trucks cruising by, checking out the scenery of the ocean. And I have a scanner, so I know they're not on a call.
Let's keep the comments directed as to the fuel.
The fuel cost is, my thing is the waste of fuel, because they don't seem to go to a call and then respond back to the station. They seem to take joyrides.
Sir,
that's the money part. That's what we're talking about, the gas fuel usage, correct?
Do you have questions specifically related to fuel?
Yes.
Why they're using so much fuel or not using, etc.
I'm trying to tell you why they use so much fuel. And a portion of it is the policy. So I guess the question that you want me to ask is there a policy in the fire department that says, go to a call and return back to the station for the next call, do not go for a joyride?
We have no such policy. We would encourage and have encouraged our personnel to be out in the community, be seen out in the community, to do district inspections. And when I mean that, I don't mean by buildings and so on. So going through the area, see if they, just like the police do, see if anything looks wrong or so on and so forth. They can report something, they can follow through to fire prevention. They saw a building that didn't look right or something like that.
Chief, are there any GPSs on any of the fire department vehicles? I forgot to ask the police department.
No, they're not, sir.
Okay, thank you.
My follow-up question to that would be, since the trucks are a lot bigger and use much more gasoline and wear and tear on vehicles, requesting any excess of money to buy new ones because they break down faster, it's all related. It's all related to the policy of going to a call, going back to the station and wait till the next call. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions from the chief? For the chief, sorry. Any other questions? Sir, yes.
The chief just brought up an interesting point, but I don't get it, and I'm not sure why would we use a pumper that's valued at $500,000, manned by 3-4 individuals, riding through neighborhoods. I mean, don't we have inspectors within the fire department that are driving a vehicle, that are going through these neighborhoods? Why do we have pumpers going through these neighborhoods? I mean, I don't know. I mean, what do they get per gallon? 10 miles per gallon? I mean, that's a lot of fuel. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Any other comments from the public? Hearing none, I need a motion.
I'll move for favorable action.
Second. We have a motion favorable, we have a second, all in favor? Aye. Aye.